to make it
This
today.
week we're going to break the habit of a lifetime. I was walking down the road this morning and a bird shit on my head.
What was her name?
I think it was a pigeon, but I've got no proof. But I was on my way to my wife's hairdresser to deliver something, and I was literally 10 seconds from the door of the hairdressing shop to deliver this thing. I'd never met the hairdresser before, but I went in and said, "I'm my husband, and here is the package." And a bird has just shat in my head. And she sat down and she washed my hair. So is that a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or is it a case of being in the right place?
As they used to say about Silvercrane hairspray, is he or isn't he? All right, listen, in much sadder, much more inane news, it's week 26 coming up. It's nearly the fucking weekend. You live for this moment where there'll be nonsense, there'll be singing, there'll be analysis, there'll be stuff straight from the coalface. So on that NUM theme, do we see another switchback of league leadership this weekend? Because on Saturday it's Barça against Villarreal, and then on Monday it's Real Madrid against Getafe. And let's start with the game at the Camp Nou, because the overall question, the overall argument is it possible that Villarreal come and take a point or points, more points at Camp Nou and defeat Football Club Barcelona, and then Madrid just fucking knock Getafe for 6 and retake the league leadership. Starting with the first opportunity for a big change, Barça Villarreal. Lots of questions. It's the game, it's the fixture where really it cost Xavi his position at Football Club Barcelona overall. There's been a mental goal total in recent seasons. I think you've got deets on that, but also it's always an away win in this fixture. What the fuck's going on, Pedro?
Yeah, I mean, it tends to throw up great games with lots of goals, just because you cannot be Barca manager or Villarreal manager unless you're a very expansive attacking football-minded coach. So that's why historically, going back to Pellegrini era, it's always been one of the games of the season. The best recent example of Villarreal to look at is last season, isn't it? They went to where the hell were Barca playing at that
Montjuic.
I think they scored early. Barca came back, 2 brilliant goals from Lamine and from Fermin, or 2 standard goals, because Fermin's was a shot from outside the area and Lamine's was a run as a check inside and curl went into the top corner. But Villarreal won the game. They won the game 3-2. So can they do the same this time? They've clearly got the armament to hurt Barca. I think Pepe had a very good game in that match last season. Comisani scored one of the goals running from deep. We know that's one way you can really spring the Barca offside trap. I hope that Villarreal treat this like a cup final. And by that, I don't mean, it's very cliche in Spain. Every manager whose team are even slightly threatened by relegation, every game's a final. I don't mean it like that. I mean a cup final in the sort of Jimmy Melia hire a helicopter to go to the game sense. That make it special, because this is Villarreal's last big game of the season. They've got Atletico on the last day, but probably everything will be done and dusted by then. So this is the last big rival. They haven't beaten a big rival all season. They've had a very strange season where it's job done in terms of they're going to make the Champions League places again, barring their form falls off a cliff, and nothing suggests to me that it will. So it's job done on the financial front, but so disappointing in the Cup, so disappointing in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So treat this match like a special game. They've got the players to do it. Barca will have one eye on the miracle comeback that they're going to pull off on Tuesday night. I don't think so. Do you?
No, we'll be there. So come with us. We'll be at the Camp Nou when it's Barca 0, Atleti 4 in the Cup semi-final kickoff. But let's draw back from your tight analysis of this weekend. Last 10 games, how many goals in this fixture, home and away? 39. Last 10 fixtures, how many home wins? You know this.
Is it not very many?
It's not very many. It's 1. So, genuinely, even taking into account what you've said, how can it be that this is a constant flood of goals? Why do neither of them opt for we're gonna choke the other team and then punch and score and that'll do us? Why is it all Jake LaMotta football? And why have there been 9 out of 10 away wins in Barca Villarreal over the last 10 matches? That's an anomaly. That's unusual.
Yeah, I think I always have trouble comparing historically, even if it's just over the last 10 years, because Xavi's Barca is so different to Hansi Flick's Barca. And Villarreal are not the same as
you see my point? Even though a regime changes, a manager changes, some players change, it's always a 5-goal thriller, and it's always an away win.
But don't you think it does come back to the spirit of the two clubs? We know Barcelona, it's written in stone, Johan Cruyff's handwriting, better to win 5-4 than to win 1-0. And Villarreal, it's not exactly the same. There was a period of time in both our times in Spain when Villarreal were called Barcelona. That's what they were called. So it's a very similar philosophy. And when they play each other, then they have fun together because that's the way they could play.
I think it means that if you can catch this game on Saturday afternoon, mid-afternoon, it means in UK and Ireland, there's a bit of a blackout. That Paul Weller, they reference from Pete again. Thank you very much. Wildwood, that was. In fact, don't miss it if you could possibly see it. In summary, do Villarreal hand a big opportunity to Madrid to go back top of the table? Do Villarreal win it come now?
I think they can certainly take something from Barca. If they take a point and Barca and Madrid win, is that the switch you're talking about?
2-point gap, is it?
Right, okay, so it would be
a draw. It would be down to head-to-head.
Yeah,
but at the moment,
I think the fact that the Barca will maybe be thinking forward towards the cup second leg, a possibility. Is Cancelo going to play again?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're maybe going to talk a little bit later about Levante, but let's get it out of the way now. Levante made such a big error last weekend. You're up against Cancelo. They didn't play a right winger. And I heard people say, well, they've been very clever. They played a double fullback on that side. Cancelo played the whole match on the left wing. He didn't have to defend at all in the game. And Villarreal won't do that. They'll use. I think Nicolas Pepe is running back into some form. They'll use him to attack that side of the pitch. So who's ever on it, there's maybe hay to be made. Do they make hay? Make hay while the sun shines. There's hay to be made there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be one of the games of the weekend, and Villarreal can take something from it.
Yeah, it was a situation where the Portuguese coach didn't do very well because he had 5 at the back as well as the double full back. He had no right winger. Toljan was the right back, and Toljan was always tucked tight. He can't be tucked tight in a 5.
Yeah.
And Cancelo getting the ball, as well as looking nimble, 2-footed. He said afterwards, I've been trained up fitness-wise. He was just like, well, this is a fucking walk in the park. This is absolutely... Levante can't do that. We're going to come back to Levante in a little bit of a minute now. So the partner fixture is Madrid hosting Getafe on that really bad pitch where last night at the Bernabeu, players were slipping and sliding, as is always the case right now. But I see in my own analysis I see very little hope for Getafe. They've changed because of the 2 South American strikers. That gives me a passing options, but there's a happy hangover, I think, because there's a big gap between playing on Wednesday night and then playing on Monday night for Real Madrid. They get a breather, they get more Pintus time. I don't think Bellingham's back, and probably Asensio's out, but it's time for Housen to return. But also there's a buzz now around the club. People chat on them in their analysis of whether Madrid did or didn't play beautiful football. Everybody's still dancing on their face with hobnail boots. But they competed. They worked hard for one another again across the 2 ties against Benfica. We've seen a far more coherent, cogent Madrid. We were never going to see, suddenly they're playing Toni Kroos, Luka Modric football because they haven't fucking signed a player like that. But the work ethic is better. They're through the last 16. They'll have seen the draw, which is tomorrow, midday. They'll have known the draw by then, whether Courtois said it'll be City. It'll be City. But they face a Getafe, who I think they can actually tear into and beat. What do you think about my point that I sent to you is both of us in December was at the Sevilla game said, if you could pick one player and hoist him out to say it's not a player's dressing room, it's not the training ground is run by the club and the manager, who would you hoist out? And we both said Kylian Mbappe. Are they better without Mbappe on your left?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to be sort of misquoted and made to look daft by saying Madrid should sell Mbappe.
It's us quoting ourselves. So I think we can...
Well, that's even worse.
We lie. We can...
But the team is more balanced when either Mbappe or Vinicius is not in the side because they are the same player.
Oh, Vinicius.
No, but they're the same player, Graham. They want to make exactly the same runs. They want to occupy exactly the same parts of the pitch. They have the same qualities. Mbappe scores more goals. I think Vinicius is better at pressing. I think Mbappe is lazier by far than Vinicius. But they are so similar. And of course it works when they play together because they're brilliant. But when one of them isn't playing, and last night wasn't Mbappe, and it wasn't Mbappe when they thrashed Betis at the start of the year, and you can give a couple of other examples, then Vinicius occupies that position absolutely fine, and they have a centre forward. And there are so many centre forward things, the dirty, low down things that a centre forward has to do that Mbappe doesn't do. And of course it doesn't matter that he doesn't do it because he scores 50 goals a season. But when someone does them, as Gonzalo Garcia does, occupy the space in the middle when there's a cross coming in, so the central defenders have to take a step back and then leave space for people like Arda advancing, making later runs. There's just a better balance about it. That's the thing.
Unless Kylian Mbappe changes, which he's never going to do, and he's even less disciplined for Madrid, where he's the boss compared
He
to
is very much the boss.
Enrique. If there aren't goals, you're not getting enough, are you?
No, but then they're nearly almost always are goals. And I think Arbeloa is close to finding a way where they can play together as a two, and he plays this sort of hybrid diamond midfield. Arda's right behind them playing the passes. Camavinga and Valverde as the Pistons, and Tchouaméni in front of the centre backs. And I think I don't change the analysis just because they lost to Osasuna. I think he's hit on a system that works as best as it can playing those two together.
Yeah, they missed Rudiger, and I have to say Trent to a degree, although he didn't contribute when he came on, but it was a different side. Mbappe was absolutely awful. It was the moment at which it was clear he was playing too much through injury. What worries me a little bit was that Arbeloa came off the last training session before the Benfica game saying Mbappe's fit, and Mbappe went, "No, I'm not actually."
It's a big mystery.
It's not a war, but it's not the case that the guy who's got to carry the can and who's got to repair the side is in charge of Mbappe. It just isn't. Giving Getafe a little bit of a touch-up. Satriano and Vasquez, Uruguayan and Argentinian, have made a difference for you in what way to Getafe?
I think Getafe have two types of player. There's the lost and found player who's basically he's gone astray in his career a bit through injury or disciplinary or off the pitch problems and goes to Getafe and finds his way back. Or there's the family holiday player, the player that Bordalas says at the start of the season, listen, if we go down, you guys are not staying in this division. No one's going to be signing you. You want your holidays in Barbados and not Bognor Regis or wherever the Spanish equivalent is, then do as we say, and we'll keep you up and we'll play in the top flight next season. And that's why there's never any dissent. You never look at Getafe and think he's not following the orders. He's not following the orders. Everyone follows the orders. So which category do these two players fit? They fit into the first one. They've lost their way a little bit. Is it Satriano who was at Lyon?
Yeah, Lyon and Anderlecht were the two clubs that put them on.
So Vasquez wasn't getting any minutes at all at Anderlecht. Satriano's had a bad injury at Lyon. They're a partnership. One is happy playing as the fixed striker, Satriano, and Vasquez is doesn't mind running the channels. We've got that the right way around. I haven't done a Getafe game for a couple of weeks. They definitely work together.
They work together such that when Vasquez was taken off, Satriano was more than 9. I think that Satriano will work around Vasquez. I think Vasquez thinks he's the boss of the two. Whether that's true or not, I'm not gonna make a decision. But it feels like they press better. It feels like that they've got better pace if they want to release, and they do. They're a team that releases.
They both received the email about if you get hit anywhere near the shoulders or anything, go down holding your face rather than round.
Take some facial injuries, Getafe, man. It was something that weird is going on.
Yeah. But they've come in together, which I think helps. Hats off to Getafe because they've gone out, they've got no money, and they've gone and brought in a couple of guys who are going to absolutely keep them up comfortably and cause teams a few problems. But I don't think you can include Madrid in that list of teams that we're going to.
Oh, Bugger Bognor for the Getafe strikers, bienvenido Bermuda. Listen, this is the point where I've been asked to sell a sizzle, not a sausage. It's good to have socios. Thank you for being with us. This part gets cut up by producer Jack Harris, a man who the big guns, the big leagues have come in to sign and take away from us. But while Jack is cutting this, what he wants to hear me saying is that at Revista de la Liga, we give you first-hand content from commentaries, from interviews, post-matches. I was at the Bernabeu for you yesterday. Pete and I will be at the Camp Nou for you next weekend. Pete will be commentating on. Do you know your games?
Next weekend.
Do you know your games? I've got Mallorca and Real Sociedad. I think I've got Athletic Club.
I've got Mallorca's first game. We're doing that together then. First game.
So we're sitting down with managers and coaches and going to press conferences. We're going to matches. We'll be bringing you World Cup, Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, Copa del Rey, La Liga, and we simply need the support of those of you who are subscribing but haven't become socios. It's £3.99 a month. It's 30 quid for a calendar year, and you get value. And you get the occasional joke and a little bit